In this video, we'll be taking a look at General Hera Syndulla, based upon her appearance from the Ahsoka series for the Vintage Collection. So this is another action figure I've been holding out on for a little while now. I know a lot of people have been including her in their like top 5 or top 10 lists for TVC action figures for 2023. Some people even rank her as number 1, and I can definitely see why that is. She's an entirely new action figure as far as I can tell, and the tooling on it is very nice, and the posability on her is very good as well. I don't really have any problems getting her in a like crouching position like this, and her holster is flexible enough to accommodate that. And aesthetically, she's just a very good looking action figure. I can definitely see why people are fans of her. This is the very first Hera I've had in my collection. I did not get the Black Series ones for either Ahsoka or Rebels back in the day. I know the Rebels Hera's been out for a long time now, maybe 8 or 9 years even. And then, yeah, I think that there is a 3 3/4 inch Hera from Rebels out there in the 5 POA line, and I don't have that action figure either. So I'm glad I have her. I was shopping at Walmart the other day, and along with the Dark Times Imperial Officer that I reviewed previously, I happened to see this entire wave there. Revan was missing, and there's Pre-Vizsla there, Director Krennic, and I looked at Krennic, and for some reason he didn't look right in the face to me, so I passed on him. The R5 droid, I would like to get that at some point, but I don't really want to spend $17 for it. So perhaps someday. And then Hera here, and I was like, well, Hera looks pretty good, and I wouldn't mind having her in the collection, so I went ahead and got her. I can't say I'm the biggest Rebels fan in the world. I did watch Season 1 back in 2014, but it really didn't hold my interest. And Season 2, 3, and 4 I have not seen. Perhaps someday I'll sit down and watch them. I know what happens in Rebels. I know that Maul comes back, and there's those episodes with Vader, and Palpatine even makes an appearance. So I pretty much know how the story goes and how it ends, but as far as sitting down and watching every episode, I'm not too sure about. And same with Ahsoka. I haven't really seen anything of Ahsoka either. I know what happens, and I've seen a couple scenes here and there, but I've never actually sat down and watched it. And so far, Ahsoka seems to be a hit or miss series. Some people think it's alright or good, and then there's a lot of people that say it's really bad. So who knows? Perhaps someday I'll sit down and watch it. But anyways, let's just go and take a closer look at this package. So Ahsoka Tano, or Star Wars Ahsoka, I mean. General Hera Syndulla. Nice image of her there. I know the actress that plays as her is Ewan McGregor's second wife. And I wonder how she got that role, huh? And I know a lot of people do have some problems with maybe not the actress herself, but they think the likeness just really isn't there to what Hera, or transitioning Hera from an animated look to a realistic look. A lot of people don't really buy this interpretation of her. I think she looks okay. It has the purple background there. And just an image of the figure there with the new card back style. She is VC300. I did mention this in the Darth Revan review. I think he should have been VC300 to be consistent with Force users, because 100 was Starkiller, 200 was Palpatine, and then 300 would have made sense to have Revan. And they did write a little bit of different bio for her compared to a lot of the other figures. So since 2010, the Vintage Collection has paid homage to the iconic Kenner toy era of Star Wars history. VC300 celebrates the line with General Hera Syndulla for the first time on a TVC card back. I personally think she should have been 301. But it doesn't really matter if you're an opener so much, but I know card collectors are very particular about how they want the numbering system to go. But anyways, let's just take a closer look at the action figure here. So like I said, aesthetically, this is a very nice action figure. I think she is on point, very spot on. Everything about her is perfect. So you have her headgear there with her goggles. She's definitely having the Amelia Earhart look going on. And her jacket here is definitely like a 1930s and 40s style fighter pilot. Interesting thing about her head tails there is I'm not sure if those are tattoos or if that's just natural skin tone for her. But that's an interesting design. The Ula action figure I have doesn't have anything. It's just solid green. But you let me know in the comments if you happen to know exactly what that is. She does have that emblem on the back of her jacket. Again, I'm not 100% sure what that means. She does have the rebel symbol, it looks like, on her sleeve there. And then she has some type of emblem on the other side. And then she has this, perhaps that's supposed to be a rank badge or a patch of some sorts. As far as the head sculpt is concerned, pretty on point. I think the pupils in the eyes could have been just slightly better, but it's pretty good. Overall, the sculpt looks really nice, and the paint turned out mostly good. At least for my sample, though, I think the eyes could have been just a little bit more defined. Overall, looks pretty good. She does have her holster here, which, like I said, and as you can see at the beginning of the video, it does have some flex to it. And it is a separate part. And yeah, they did sculpt her caboose in, basically. I know a lot of people like talking about it on the internet, it seems. So yeah, Hasbro did go out of their way to sculpt that for collectors. And her pants are just all orange, and she has the black boots there. So in terms of articulation, very good articulation. Very fluid joints as well, and good posability. Better than I've seen on a lot of action figures. So obviously the ball joint, the head, and then hinged shoulders, which go a little past 90 actually. Hinged elbows, which again go past 90. I think swivel wrists, yeah, those are pretty small wrists, so you're not going to get much more than a swivel out of that. Joint the torso, and hinged hips, which are very fluid and have a good range of motion. She does have a swivel cut at the thigh. Looks like a pocket right there as well, and on that side as well. She does have hinged knees, about 90 degrees, and then the rocker ankles. In terms of weapons and accessories, very light. She just has this one small pistol here, which not really a whole lot that can be said about that. It does have some goldish brown color detailing in it. Looks pretty nice. And she does have the option to put it in her holster here, which fits pretty good. Definitely stays in the place, and it's a very snug fit. And it fits really good in her hand around the trigger there. And she can kind of hold the pistol with two hands. It's probably about as good as it will get. But yeah, that's pretty much all I can show with Hera here. I'll bring out a couple. I don't have a whole lot in action figures for Rebels, but I do have one in particular that a lot of people don't see too often, and it's a good opportunity to show on the channel here. And that's Agent Callus. This is the 5 POA version of him that was very hard to get back in 2014. I actually did find him in retail. And interesting thing about the Rebels action figures at the time. So allegedly, a lot of the shipments of them were raided by pirates. I've heard that a couple times here and there over the years. I can't verify if that's 100% true or not, but if that is true, that's a pretty interesting story. Uh, yes, if you didn't know already, pirates do still exist in the world, especially off the coast of East Africa. There's definitely a lot of raids. And of course, when you go through the Suez Canal and then into the Red Sea there and into around the Arabian Peninsula, there's definitely a lot of activity around there, and I'm sure plenty of other places in the world. I don't know if the shipment of action figures really go through the Suez Canal to North America. I would think that they would go straight from China and then across the Pacific there, but perhaps they go around the longer way. So if that story is true, that a lot of the Rebels action figures were raided by pirates and then they just never made their way to North America, that is a very interesting story. Still, Hera and Callus here look pretty good side by side. Even though he's a 5 POA, more animated style action figure, I think they look pretty good together. But like I said, that's all I can show you about Hera here. So would I recommend her for your collection? As someone that's not really a hardcore Rebels fan and doesn't really know a whole lot about the character, I would say yes, I do recommend her. She's a very nice action figure. If you have a Rebellion collection of any sorts, Rebel Fleet Troopers, Hoth Rebel Troopers, Rebel Pilots even, specifically Rebel Pilots, I think she's a good fit for all those. Perhaps at some point I'll make a Rebel Pilot display and then put Hera with them and see how that looks. I do have quite a few Rebel Pilots. That's one of my favorite action figures to collect as far as Rebels are concerned. And I would like to try and get them all at some point. And I think Hera will look really good with that. I did not back the Ghost, so I'm really not going to have a whole lot for her to go with. But I'm perfectly okay with that. The Ghost isn't really a high ticket or a high importance item on my list. As far as HasLab's concerned, I've mentioned this so many times before, but there's so many other things out there I would rather get instead. But still, I'm happy to have Hera in my collection. She's a solid action figure. I can definitely see why some people put her in the top few of the best for 2023. I think it's kind of hard to argue against that point. For my personal favorite, I don't think she's going to break into my top 5, but maybe she would break into my top 10. And a lot of that just simply comes down to my connection to the character, I guess. My top 5 list that I did for 2023, I think, would still stand as is. Still, solid action figure all around. Some of the best articulation I think I've seen for a TVC figure in a little bit. All new tooling all around, as far as I can tell. And I think she's going to hold up very nicely in the TVC. But anyways, that concludes this review. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for plenty more reviews in the future. There will always be more to come. If you haven't already, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I always appreciate all your support. And check out the links in the description if you haven't done so already. As always, thanks for watching.